Hello GED students, Mr. Dan here. Starting out with lesson 54. Um, the lesson starts out looking at vocabulary and how it applies to algebraic expressions. In the fundamentals of math, there were lessons about the vocabulary and how to translate them. And the beginning of lesson 84 is the same thing, but doing it in algebra. This worksheet here that I found, variables and verbal expressions, just like here, the word difference. It says here the difference of 10 and 5, so difference means it's subtraction. So this will be 10 minus 5. And then here the quotient of 14 and 7. Quotient means, the word quotient means to divide. So it will be 14 divided by 7. Or in algebra, you'll see dividing written as a fraction. This is the same thing, 14 divided by 7. Okay, so those are the same thing. But in algebra, you have a missing number. In a lot of algebra, you have a variable that's missing, and you're trying to figure out what that missing number is. So here it says, now in the book too, they'll say like some number decreased by 17, or here they have u decrease. Decrease means minus 17. So this will be some number subtract 17, decrease by 17. Or here you got half of 14, so that'll be it can be written as 14 divided by 2, half of 14, or you can do 14 divided by 2. That way is one way of doing it. But here's more of the algebra. You have x increased by 6. So we have, or it'll say some number, we don't know what the number is, but it's going to be increased, so that's adding by 6. So increase would mean add. The product is of x and 7, or the product of some number we don't know and 7. So x times 7. This you won't see in algebra, this symbol for times. They'll do this. They'll go x parentheses 7. When they're right next to each other like this, that means you're taking this number times 7. Or if you see this where they have like 5 times 7, let's say the x is 5. Well, this is multiplying. 5 times 7 would be 30. Okay, that would be 30. But this is how they do multiplying and algebra. The sum is going to be adding, so the sum of some number, they have q, so the sum q plus 8, the sum between q and 8. Okay, 6 squared, that'll be 6 to the second power, twice q. Okay, I'm going to take q twice, so that'll be 2 times q. Or you'll see it written like this, since we don't know the number is q. Okay, and let me finish these off here. Number 10, the product. The product means you're going to multiply. Now here we know both numbers. They don't have the letter. So it says the products of 8 and 12, so that'll be 8 times 12. Okay, and then the quotient again will be dividing. The quotient of 18 and some number. So 18 divided by n. But in algebra, you'll see it written like this. This will be division, like a fraction. So n was 2, you would put the 2 here, 18 divided by 2 would be 9. And then cubed means to the third power, n cubed. Okay? Now that's this worksheet, and then they have others here on the worksheet where you take this here and then you make your own written example, just like you can say the sum of some number and 9. Or here I can take x divided by 2, or the quotient between x and 2. Okay, it's just, this is a good review of the vocabulary and how it applies to the algebraic expressions. Here, let me pull it down, let me look at the screen, make sure it's on. These are some that I pulled off of out of the book. This is right out of lesson 54. Okay, and this one here, the bottom pages, I send you an email, they have the answers on the bottom, or the second 2 pages. But here, it says here the difference between a number and 2. So the difference between a number, I can give it any, I use X or Y because you see that a lot in algebra, but you can use any letter. Okay, just A, B, C, D. I use X and Y. But here the difference between some number and 2. So the difference would be subtracting. So it'll be X and 2. Or here, number 2 from the book, it says twice a number increased by 4. So I'm going to take some number and double it, or times 2. So I go x times, or 2 times x, increased by 4. So I'm going to go plus 4. Okay? And then number 3, this will be 9 less than 3 times the number. So 9 less than, well, I want to do 3 times a number first. So 3 times a number. I don't know what the number is, so they're right next to each other. So remember, that means times. If we knew this was a 9, that would go like 3 times 9. Okay, but, oh, let me move my hand. But we don't know what x is, so we're just going to leave it like this. 3 times a number, and then I'm going to take 9 less of this number. So that'll be minus 9. This one here, this one's kind of a funky one. It says 5 times the sum of a number and 3. So first I'm going to take the sum of some number and negative 3. So sum means adding. So I got some number, I don't know what the number is, but I'm going to add negative 3 to it. So I got negative 3. I'm going to put that in parentheses like that. But then it says here I'm going to take 5 times all this. I got to multiply all this by 5. So times. So here I'm going to put this in another parentheses and say I'm going to take 5 times whatever this number is in here if I knew what the x was. Okay. Number 5 and 6 from the book. It says twice a number increased by the product of 3 and 8. So twice a number, that's going to be 2 times that number. And then I'm going to increase it, so plus increase by the product. Well, product is multiplying. So I'm going to find the product of 3 and 8. So this will be 3 times 8. Okay, and then here, number 6, the quotient. So that's going to be dividing. The quotient of 3 minus a number and 6. So this is kind of another funky one. It's like 3 minus a number. And so this here, 3 minus a number. I'm going to find the quotient between 3 minus a number and 6. So I'm going to take this, the quotient is divide, and divide it by 6. That's kind of another one with a lot of steps in it. Okay, And the book, I think they have, let me look here. Get my arm's in the way. I think the book has other ones. Yeah, they have 12 samples of these. I just put half of them here. And again, the answer to the rest of these are in the book. Okay, I think the answer is on page 524. But that's the first part of lesson 54.